Hey everyone, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I've got this relatively new 2014 model year, new to me anyways. Most of the stuff I get is pretty old, like 90s and early 2000s spec. Um, I honestly don't remember where I got this mower from. It's one of these lots I picked up for like 6 or 7 mowers for like $70 or something. I think I may have been a bigger lot than that, um, something like that. I don't have a lot of money in it. Maybe 10, no more than like $15, I think. When it came to me, has the carburetor on it already. It's one of those overhead valve Briggs plastic carburetors. And then the rest came in the air filter, and at least I have the air filter cover. And that's an acorn. So let's just get into it. It should be pretty simple, pretty quick. And we'll just start by putting this on. So let's get started. Alright guys, the low angle of the sun is kind of wreaking havoc here, but let me give you a lowdown of what this is. That's your, I don't know how much they cost at Lowe's now, but it's the Bolens. Their standard doesn't even have adjustable wheels on it. I mean, if you can go to, thing is, you can go to Walmart and get one with adjustable wheels for the same price, 20-inch cut. The Hyper Tough. Anyways, it's got the 450E, 125cc, 20-inch cutting width. Made in 2014, like I mentioned, according to the gas tank. Let's see on the side of the engine if we can see the actual date code. Some of these they don't put them on, and some of them they put on the. Let's see, what do we have here? I think they went for a stint and they didn't put date codes on them. They put them on like the actual QR here. Yeah, I think this is the serial number. So 140603, which would put it at June 3rd of 2014. So we're talking about, what, 7 years old. Let's check the blade. It looks like to be in good shape on the outside. A little bit of faded paint on the deck. The blade is actually sharp enough to the point where I'm not even going to have to worry about it, which is nice. The deck's in pretty decent shape. It leads me to believe this thing has not had a lot of use. Let me get you on the tripod and we'll check the oil, which is on this side. I have to grab pliers or some screwdriver. I'll show you it pulls over. May not have a spark plug in it. It does. These never feel like they have like loads of compression whenever you crank them. So it could be a, let's see. Get out of the way for y'all. Actually, the oil looks very clean. It's like very clean. As long as it's got some in it, and it does. We're not even going to have to. I'm just going to wipe off the dipstick just to make sure. As long as this thing runs. I just have to add a little bit of oil. It's on the low mark, but that's before I even thread it in. So I just have to top it off with maybe like 3-4 ounces. That'll be all. We've got plenty to run it right here, though. It's always a pain trying to thread these plastic dipsticks back into these engines. All right, there we go. Gas, I don't know what's got. Tank Tank's dry. Let me get it out here. We'll put a little gas in it, or actually we'll just spray it with some carb cleaner because I don't have the gas tank on it yet, or the cover on it. That's good enough for me. It's probably a culprit of either water in the carb bowl or a little bit too much oil in the valve cover from it sitting a while. So while I already have everything off here, we'll go ahead and take a look at the carburetor and make sure it's clean. So let's start, why don't we? Can't really get y'all down any lower unless I put it up on the bench here, but we're just gonna do it right here on the ground. Just taking the fuel line off of it. There we go. Fuel line. To mess it up, I got 1,000 of these anyway, so. Work it back and forth. There we go. Just gotta pull it off here. We still got some stuff in this, so let me get it up on the bench for y'all. Go ahead and pop that back on. Be sure not to lose that piece. It is supposed to be like a little vent piece, but looks like that hole right there has actually been compromised. So we'll just take a little mini drill bit and drill that back out. That way it's got it going. We'll take this out and see what kind of, we'll open up, see what we got on the inside of the carburetor here. Alrighty, a couple 7 mils and a screwdriver should get this bowl off for us. Gosh, I remember I still want to do Walmart customer returns, but whenever I did this, and just crank these bad boys out pretty quick. Not really a fan of the plastic card, but they're not bad to work on. All right, let's see what type of present we have in here for us. Let's see. A little bit of old fuel, not terrible. I'll just spray. Gosh, the jets look clean on it though. They really do. I'll grab some carb cleaner and I'll just spray this out and wipe it out and put it back together. Obviously, this tube right here has been crushed, so I might just cut a little bit off the end. It's just like a just like a vent tube. It's not really terribly critical, but if your carb can't vent, just like people, right? If you can't vent as a person and just keep it all bottled up inside, it's not good. So just got to drill that back. I'm just going to hit this real quick with some carb spray. I don't really see any need to take the jet off because it looks pretty darn good. Pretty darn good right here, and usually when it looks good right here, it's usually pretty good up in there too. Hopefully I don't eat my words, but I'll do that. I'll put it back on the mower. Honestly, I'll go ahead and put the air filter cover on. It's really easy to do, and we'll start it up, see if it works. Alrighty, y'all, so sometimes things can tell a story, if you know what I mean. You see where looks like there's char marks and stuff on this backing plate and whatnot. So I bet what happened is, and I know this happens a lot on these, and by the way, I just put the carburetor back on. You just have to hook that one linkage up on these primer bulb setups. Really not too difficult at all. But I bet what happened is that sometimes these get a little bit of water in them. They're pretty good about them, especially with the plastic carbs. And I bet what happened is they tried to fire it up and it popped back on them with a little bit of that water, and it, you know, just flames and stuff came up, and they probably thought it was the end of times for this mower. But it shouldn't be, and that does tell me a lot. Carb's clean on it, so just put this PCV tube back in. Of course, with it being cold outside, it's pretty hardened, so it's not going to be the easiest to. Okay. It slides into these two little tabs, and then all you have to do is take a 5/16 and a 7mm. Do this on the stool instead of my knees, you know. Work smarter, not harder, right? So, just gonna screw the 7mm in there. Of course, this is the one you got to get down to see. We'll go ahead and put them in there. Again, don't have to be very tight. And your 5/16 go on the sides here. The one on the right side's a movable bracket. So let's try and get it in a few threads first. This one's got a movable bracket, so it's a little bit more difficult to get in, but we'll push. And we are in. I'm trying to do this whole thing on a couple of takes, guys. This shouldn't really be too difficult here. I'm going to put the air filter and the air filter cover back on. Put a little bit of gas in it and see if it'll fire for us. We know it's got enough oil in it. We know it's got spark. See if we can purge whatever water is in there. Air filter is, remember these usually are pretty, you have to put a little bit of oil in them for them to work. It's a little shrunk up, but it's still going to serve its purpose. for a $70 mower. So we'll get that out. We'll put some gas in it. We'll put it out there on the concrete, see if we can get it to start. Alright guys, let me grab my little third hand just in case it does decide to stay running. Hopefully that's all it needs. I don't see anything else that's like, you know, glaring at me that's telling me that's wrong with it. I just think I just need to reassemble that air filters and whatnot. I think it probably scared the guy whenever it caught on fire, which for me is just normal occurrence, it seems. But let me grab my third hand from a little clip. We'll start it up. It's priming like amazing. I think I might have too much fuel in the plug. Let me maybe encourage it with some carb cleaner real quick. I don't think that plug's on there all the way. I think it's leaking a little gas out of it. Let me test that real quick here. It's just hard to get these plugs off of these overhead valves. Yeah, that plug's screwing around actually, so the plug's not even tight. Goodness, there we go. My goodness. Oh, don't tell me. There would be your issue. They put a quantum plug in it, or a flathead plug in an overhead valve. Let me go get a correct plug, and that'll probably solve our issues. Man, I hope they didn't screw the threads up when they did that. What was that, L7T H8H? Who knows? Let me show you the correct plug that goes into this thing. All right, I got two things going on here. I got a leaky needle and seat, unfortunately. Luckily for me, I've got a replacement carb. Got a ton of them. Let me grab my spark plug tool real quick. I told you I was going to show you what the plug was. This one in particular, I mean, you see the difference in the length of it overall and the thread size. This one's a RC12YC Champion. And you know, it's flooding it out right now, but there we go. There we go. Let's see if it cranks now. I'm gonna have to do something with the carb because you can see it was leaky needle and seat. Just gonna pull it until it fires, until it stops flooding out. I put the vice grips on there so that way it won't, you know, pull up any more fuel in there. I think she's very, very flooded. You see it spitting out the dang carb on this one. Come on, you can do it. Oh, come on. Yeah, I think it's literally just so much fuel that got in there that it's just trying to purge it out. Which I kind of needed to do that anyways for me. It was trying to. I'm not gonna let y'all sit through all that. Anyways, I got a bad needle and seat on this one. I do have good news. This was a test carburetor that I tried to test from an edger, and the edger, I tried to open up the jet. So all I'm gonna do is replace the jet on this carburetor. I'll keep the needle and seat and everything in it, because this is a good carburetor otherwise. So I'm gonna just replace that with this. No different than what y'all just showed, that I just showed y'all. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll put the new carb on it, and hopefully this thing will run pretty well after that. Alright, y'all, let me show you one more thing that I noticed. So this is the jet that I'm going to replace. This is the one I drilled out of for an edger to try and get it to stop surging. The one in the mower was missing this plug, which it's actually like a little, it's like a little ball actually. So I'm going to install this ball into this the jet that was on the mower originally. Because I bet what was happening was it was getting sucked up that ball. However, I'm going to go ahead, because I know this is a good carburetor, I'm going to go ahead and put this into this carburetor here. That way I don't have to take something apart yet again. So make sure everything's clean out of it. We'll put it all back together. That's just one thing that I haven't run into that I wanted to show y'all, that with that ball. What do you call it? A ball valve? Or like a little, it's almost like a ball plug or something, you know? I'm going to go ahead and put this carb back on. We'll put this one on and see if we have any action when it comes to running. Alrighty, I've given it a few primes already. I think that will fix it, because that would make sense as to, with that little ball, I don't know what it's called, like a ball plug in that bottom of that jet, that would cause the float to never seal and just suck it up through the jet there all across the engine. So it's probably going to choke a little bit, but let's see if it'll actually run right this time, because it's almost like it had no jet in it with that ball plug missing. Recoils are just terrible. Maybe 10 minutes or so. I'll top it off with oil, give it a quick bath, and give y'all a final look. That's a first for me on this. You learn something new even on something that you've done 100, so kind of cool. So it's still wet, but here's how it turned out. There's a little bit of, because I guess there had been some gas before, there was a little bit of faded paint right here, which will show back up. It's really not going to be too bad. Mower of this, I guess, vintage and of this caliber is going to run about $80. Once the spring comes, listed for $80, it'll probably be gone the same day, either for $70 or $80. Usually I have people clamoring over basic push mowers like this, so should be pretty easy. I'll show you that it runs real quick, and then we'll do a wrap. Let me give you one final look around it. Again, like I said, I do need to just top off the oil just a little bit. Y'all know how to do that, so I'm not gonna worry about showing that on camera. But that little ball, that ball plug, it's almost like a Welsh plug, except it's a, like, literally looks like a ball bearing was missing out of that jet, and that was causing all the problems. Luckily I have a bunch of them here, and I had that spare carb. Just swapped everything over, including that ball plug. I don't know what the official name of it is. Somebody might know it. I don't. But again, it looks almost new whenever it's got some water on it. Paint will fade just a little bit, but again, $80 all day long. I will sell it pretty quickly. Hopefully I get a trade on it. You never know. So again, I'll just let that dry a little bit, and it'll eventually dry off and won't look quite as good, but that's okay. Just for a little basic push mower, it's going to serve somebody extremely well. So yeah, we'll end this video here. I thank you all for watching. Again, a first for me here. Did not think. I thought I had an issue with the needle and seat. I'm pretty sure it was that ball plug that I guess plugs the main jet that goes up. So what it was doing is it was pulling way too much fuel, and so it would just choke out continuously. And then I believe that's why it was leaking out the plug and leaking out the inlet hole in the carburetor there. I forgot. I'll go ahead and just change the oil, just because I'm sure it got a little bit contaminated with gas trying that experiment. It's only 20 ounces. It's no big deal. So I just got to do that. But again, that's something I've never run into, and I wanted to share it with you. I hope the length of this video doesn't deter you from watching the whole process behind me troubleshooting this, but I do kind of like to show as much of the process as possible, because there are a bunch of other how-to videos out there, and it seems like most of my viewers prefer the longer form stuff. So I appreciate y'all watching this video. What turned out to be something pretty simple was still simple, but a little bit more than I originally thought. So again, if you're having a similar issue, just check to make sure that little ball plug, that ball bearing looking thing, hasn't come out of your jet on your carburetor, and hopefully that will solve your problems as well. But thank y'all for watching. Y'all can catch me at Ellis Mowers 09 on Instagram and Facebook, right here on YouTube every Wednesday and Sunday at 8 p.m. plus additional videos during the week as content warrants. And I'll see y'all in the next video.